Welcome to Pound for Pound ATL, arguably the best place to get facts and opinions on your Atlanta Falcons. And absolutely the best place to get your opinions in. The guys are here, the chat is ready, and the conversation starts now.
What's going on, football fans? Thanks for tuning in for another Pound for Pound ATL Live. And guess what? I'm back. Unlike Cam Newton, I didn't get benched. Oh, no. Is that too soon? Too soon for that joke? Okay. No. Yeah. I was missing last week, a little under the weather, but I'm back this time, and we get to talk about a win this time, and that's awesome. That's what we like to see. Yes, it was against the hapless Jacksonville Jaguars, but that's okay. Right now, a win is a win, and you got above the win total that you had last year. You got above 500, or not 500. We're still dancing around that 500 mark, but you got 5 wins, which is super exciting. And there's some good things to talk about. There's some bad things to talk about. We can definitely talk about Cordarrelle Patterson coming back and lighting up the scoreboard again after going on a 2-week drought of not having any touchdowns. We now have we were able to actually score some touchdowns, which is great. For some reason my chat is messing up. So here, hold on. Let me see if I can fix this real quick. Got it. Okay, cool. I got the chat going now. Now I can see y'all, so that makes me feel good. When I can't see the chat, it makes me worry. It makes me think something ain't working right. But no. So Mike, man, what's going on with you, brother?
Hey, man, feeling good, man. Like I said, 2 things. Like I said, last week, got a chance to give a little thanks. You know, y'all saw me last week. I was in the cabins, man.
Dude, that was a nice looking joint that you.
Man, it was peaceful, relaxing. Man, we grilled a lot of food.
Awesome.
Right? Real heavy on the seafood. A lot of garlic butter was used.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with no garlic butter now.
Hey, nothing wrong with some garlic butter. So, you know, for that to dovetail into a Falcons win, really not a complaint about. Like, it's really honestly a time to give thanks. You know, we look at this matchup this past week against the Jaguars, and we look at the schedule, and some games we didn't know if we win, some games we didn't know, where we fit. But this was a game with the schedule. We got to win this game.
Right.
This is a game. Like, if we can stay out of our own way, we've got a shot, right? And we got it done, right? Like, it's another one of those wins that definitely was not pretty. I don't think we've had a pretty win this year.
No,
but
like, had you pulled out that Washington win, you might have considered that a pretty win as far as the offensive side of the ball. But I will say this, though. The last 2 weeks, the defense is actually showing some signs of life. Now, you could say last week was against the Jags and no big deal. But the week before that was against the Patriots, who have been rolling. And if you take away, the pick 6 that was thrown, you actually held them under 21 points, that offense. So I'm encouraged by what life I am seeing from the defense. Now I just need the offense to come off of, life support. And because we got to have more than just Cordarrelle Patterson.
Yeah.
As much as I love watching him score in the different ways that he's scoring, we have definitely got to have more than just Cordarrelle Patterson. I get it that, Kyle Pitts is still like 3rd in receptions for, receiving yards for all tight ends. And that's great for a rookie. But, I mean, he's got 1 touchdown on the season.
Right.
And, outside of him, nobody else is really stepping up. And that's worrisome, right?
Yeah.
Because you can, my thought process and my fear is that you can shut down any one person. Like, a team can take away any one player.
Always.
If you key in on Cordarrelle Patterson and you lock him down, that should, in theory and theoretical, like, chess matching, should open it up for somebody else. Now, does that somebody else step up? Is it a Russell Gage Is it a, Olamide Zaccheaus, who's gotten, 3 touchdowns on the season himself?
Right.
Is it, Kyle Pitts? Do they finally, because he's already, defenses are already treating him like a seasoned veteran. They're bracket coveraging him. They're double cover, and he's got to figure out how to beat NFL double coverages. Like he beat it in college, and against the, the Bamas and the J.C. Horns up there that was playing with South Carolina, those guys. Now he just has to figure out how to do it on an NFL level. So I'm not necessarily worried about Pitts.
Right.
Right. I'm wanting and needing somebody else to step up.
Yeah, and I would say to that point, though, you look at the NFL as a whole, right? There is, and I'll tell you because, one of the things in my fantasy league, right? I don't talk much about fantasy football, but just newsflash, I'm actually 12-0.
Oh, well, what?
Football league, right? And people were like, well, what was one of your keys to success? And the reason why I dovetailed this point back into Kyle Pitts, but I drafted Darren Waller in the second round. And they were like, boy, you drafted a tight end in the second round, because I felt like, it's hard to get a tight end that has receiver measurables, first of all, in the NFL, right? But what I also noticed, just even having a tight end as good as Darren Waller, because if you're a PPR guy like me, he averages probably 15, 16 points a game, which is insane for a tight end.
Right.
But what I found is most weeks, Darren Waller doesn't top more than maybe 9, 10. He'll have his, his weeks where he's exceeding projections, but it leads me to this point. The NFL is not set for it to be run around a tight end. Like, no matter how you use them, right? Like, Kyle Pitts can be used in different ways. And what I mean is, for Kyle Pitts to truly be unleashed, we still are going to need more weapons. And Cordarrelle Patterson, right? He's a Swiss Army knife. And again, we'll touch on Cordarrelle Patterson in that great running game, because we got to get some time to that. Because, my gosh, we had a running back run for over 100 yards this past season.
We're going to get into that for sure.
So, like I said, when I look at somebody like Kyle Pitts, I just think that Calvin Ridley not being there, just doesn't help what we're trying to do. And actually, it makes it even more impressive what we're able to accomplish with the little bit we have, which, again, offseason, we got to find another playmaker. But
we're definitely going to have to, because like Joshua Mulvaney over here says, there's a lot of speculation that Ridley won't be coming back. What do y'all think? He's eligible to come back now, correct? He is eligible to come back now, but like the census that you're getting is that they don't expect to see him at all, this season, and may not expect to see him, even next year. Like, which I can't say that I blame him. At this point, you can't necessarily count on him. And that's a problem, right? If you can't count on him, then you don't want to factor him into your game plan at all or your future.
Okay, so let's just, we'll have a Calvin Ridley conversation, because it's a tough conversation, but it's necessary. It's disappointing, but it's necessary. And this is what I've said about Calvin Ridley. I think whatever is going on mentally with him, I wish him well, first and foremost.
First and foremost.
All of the time that he needs to do whatever it is that he needs to do. It's not my ability to speculate. But from an X's and O's standpoint, let's say hypothetically he does come back from what he's currently going through, right? I think from a market standpoint, it's going to severely diminish his value, because he's in a contract year, or is he in contract?
He's under contract for next year, because they picked up his 5th-year option. No. Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they picked up his 5th-year option, so he's under contract for next year.
Okay. So that does change it, because I thought that this was a contract year, and I guess my point would have been is that even if you sit out a year like this, and you potentially come back, I'm not necessarily sure what this means for his NFL career, because teams will take a flyer on him. He's a great talent, but I just think Calvin Ridley can't necessarily. This is the first time I ever thought about this. It's like, I don't think he can be counted on in a Falcons uniform kind of anymore, right? I think it's either he's on another team, or he honestly, he's young enough that he may walk away from it. It could be. We don't know.
Well,
right?
see, and that's the thing. You talk about the young enough. He's actually that was one of the few knocks on him coming out, is that he was already by the time his contract was up, he was going to be pushing 28 or something like that. Which then the question is, he was probably only going to get one more chance at another contract, because of his age or whatever. And so it'll be interesting to see what this regime and what this front office decides that they want to do with him. Now, he's under contract for, like I said, next year, but is it a thing where maybe they try to, if he's not happy here in the type of offense that Arthur wants to run, maybe they try to trade him and get something for him, basically, to let another team essentially rent him for a year, for his services. Because it seems to me that what Arthur, as we've all said, and ain't 100% sure, but if you're going by off the talent that he had up in Tennessee, he seems to work better with bigger body receivers who are willing to make those contested catches coming across the middle, which don't necessarily seem to be Calvin's game. Calvin seems to be more of a sideline boundary type catch, or if he does catch it towards the middle, it's that spin around to avoid contact and get a few more yards, which is that, there's just type of receivers who are like that. I mean, like I said, he reminds me of like a T.Y. Hilton kind of deal, or even at times a Stephon Diggs. Like Diggs, I would consider to be like what Ridley's ceiling would be, but not sure if he was, if he's actually going to achieve that or not.
Right.
So like the aspect of him in this offseason is going to be interesting to see what they do. But you're right, they have to add talent. Like I hate to put it like it's almost, I don't think they have to draft one in the first round, but it's almost like you need to add early round talent again, which is like, man, you really want to start building these trenches, because that's where you're getting killed. I mean, granted, the O-line had a decent game last week, but Ryan is still not trusting that O-line. He was there for a little bit, or at least trusting the receivers, but as Chris Jameson pointed out, Matt Ryan had time in the pocket for once, but was throwing behind the receivers on multiple occasions. He was, and I chalk that up to he hasn't had time all season. And there were plenty of times where he had time and nobody could get open, or nobody was open. So, it seems like it's a bad, like right now things just aren't meshing. The offensive line gives him time, but the receivers can't get open, or the receivers get open, but he's on his back. If you're going, like, you're stuck with Ryan for the next 2-3 years, 2 years for sure, unless you're just going to eat the money, but I mean, which they obviously could decide to do. Like you could do what the Rams did. They just had signed Goff to a big contract and traded him away. So it's not out of the realm of possibility, but more than likely you're stuck with Ryan for the next 2 to 3 years. So you need to figure out how to maximize what he's good at.
Right.
First and foremost, you need to get a line, to keep him upright. And you talk about the run game. For all those people who were telling me that he was going to be a productive runner, man, Mike Davis ain't it. I ain't trying to put nobody on a milk carton. I ain't trying to call nobody out, nothing, so to speak. I'm just telling you what I see. And in a game where Cordarrelle Patterson goes for over 100 yards, the only thing Mike Davis could really contribute was a couple blitz pickups and one dump off out in the backfield.
Right.
And the fact that they still have him listed as RB1 on the depth chart is kind of head scratching to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, I'll tell you this, Wayne Gallman, I think going forward there, like, it's gotta be a role for this guy. Like, I think, like, you look at the Gallmans, the Olisons, like, I just think that in a weird way, as stagnant as our running game has been all season, I do hope that those guys are able to step it up in the offseason, specifically a Gallman, because I think he'd be a great number 2 back behind a good lead back. I think if we found a good lead back, and, Gallman, because Gallman kind of reminds me of a baby Tevin Coleman back in the day. Not with the speed or anything, not with burner or anything like that, but just like he's got some twitchiness to him.
Yeah.
Like he's got some of that, man, all right, let's see what this guy could do. And I mean, I think, Mike Davis, unfortunately, it just is not a fit. I mean, in Cordarrelle Patterson, I'm almost like, honestly, the success makes me a little bit nervous because football is a game. It's a physical game. It's a pounding game. And boy, if you blink 2 times, you would have saw an article today that he's actually listed as the third team. Safety.
Yeah, okay. I'm glad you brought that up because that's somebody just poking fun, having fun. There ain't no way on God's green earth that they put in Cordarrelle Patterson. Now, granted, he did take a defensive snap on Saturday or Sunday rather against the Jags, but no, they man, that's my biggest concern. Okay, that's my biggest concern with Cordarrelle Patterson is the fact that up to this point, he's a 30-year-old football player who's been in the league 8-9 years now, or 7-8 years, however long he's been in the league, and you're telling me just now somebody has figured out how to use him? That just it worries me. Like every week, I'm like, all right, how long is this gonna last? How long can this last?
The league is like that, though. Like everybody in the league is like that. But I think the one thing about Cordarrelle Patterson is when you're trying to build a team, you need a Cordarrelle Patterson because it's the mindset. And I think that, as a player, what's crazy is like players, a lot of times, man, we're the people that live in these communities. A lot of the players, they're just like renting here, like they're leasing and, you go from this city to that city, you've seen it all, right? But I think in his travels, it just feels like Atlanta's a place where it just feels like home to him, right? Because you know what? I think he's a guy that teams have always been strong where Cordarrelle Patterson was strong at, right? Because every other team, you couldn't necessarily use him like that. Now, if Bill Belichick couldn't have used him like that, I would say maybe the Patriots, he could have, when he was with the Patriots, maybe he could have, been used in a similar capacity. But I think we're a team in desperate need. We need anybody that's a play. It's almost like Little League, where it's like playmakers. If you're a playmaker, sign up and make plays. And I think that's what Cordarrelle Patterson is, though. Like he make a guy miss. We don't have many. Think about it. We don't have many guys on our offense that can make the first guy miss. He's just about the only guy on the team that can.
That's what I'm talking about. Like when you watch him in the hole, like somebody said it here just a minute ago, and I'm doing things a little bit different tonight. But King 7 says Davis is straight up the middle runner. He needs a good O-line to succeed. Once his shoulders are square, he's running people over. But until we get an O-line, he's going to be bad and CP will be overworked. That's the thing. Like Cordarrelle Patterson is the only back that I see right now on our roster that can hesitate long enough to let the log jam happen and then cut sideways. You see what I'm saying? And so I'm sitting there looking at like Patterson's like years in the league. He started in 2013. And I'm trying to see like his just like career numbers. Let me go back a page. Like up to this point, right now for this team, he has 9 touchdowns. Keep that in mind. 9 touchdowns. Cordarrelle Patterson. And in his career up to this point, these numbers are including this year or whatever. He has 12 rushing touchdowns and 15 receiving touchdowns. Okay. That means before he got here, he had 10 receiving touchdowns since 2013.
Wow.
He's gotten 5 receiving touchdowns. I mean, you see what I'm saying? Like, it just boggles my mind that this is the first time anybody's figured out how to use him. Now, it could be just as simple as, people, coaches being stuck in their ways as far as like, well, if you're a wide receiver, you're going to run this type of route. I mean, you're starting to see it happen a little bit more. Like you got Deebo Samuel out in the 49ers, out in San Francisco. You had last year, you had what was it, Curtis Samuel for the Panthers, I believe, or is it Moore? It was either Samuel or Moore. That was doing both, like playing a running back and a receiver role. You saw it a little bit with Ty Montgomery in Green Bay and in New Orleans. So it's starting to catch up or catch on rather. But I just asked, like, how long can this production last? Like how many more 100-yard games are you going to get out of Cordarrelle Patterson?
I would say off mentality alone, now not physical ability, just off mentality. I think you got 4 or 5 more games of Cordarrelle Patterson just because he's on a mission to prove something, right? And I think regardless of how many years you've been in the league, if you have the body type and the ability to be able to make it in this league, and you still have something to prove, think about it. Guy's been in the league since 2013, but he's still running and catching like he's got something to prove. I think again, that to me is we need to try to just sign this guy.
Oh no, I definitely agree. Like if you had my choice at the end of this season, to keep Cordarrelle Patterson or Mike Davis, like cut Davis, give me Cordarrelle Patterson, and do what I thought you should have done in the draft, and draft me a solid running back. Like when we signed Mike Davis and we were going into this draft, I was like, all right, cool. We're gonna get a running back in this draft, and we're gonna have Mike Davis to be the the veteran to begin with, to show this guy the ropes, that kind of. And then we didn't draft a back, and I was like, what are you doing? You could have had Javonte Williams in a second. You could have had Ramondre Stevens in the 4th, but you didn't. And that's fine. That's whatever. We're still trying to figure out what Fontenot's draft strategy and that stuff is. And we got so many holes to fill that at this point, it really doesn't matter who you take.
Yep.
You're not going to be able to fill your roster out regardless,
Right. Right.
So, but what it does show you is that, Arthur Smith is good at featuring a guy.
Right.
He featured Derrick Henry up in Tennessee. He's featuring Cordarrelle Patterson here. So that's cool. Now, can you get the bit players and the role players to go along with it?
I mean, it's true. Yeah.
Because every feature, like I said, a little while ago, you can stop anybody. You can keep anybody from, one player from dominating. It's like you take Kansas City, like what makes Travis Kelce dominant is Tyreek Hill. Because as soon as you start to laser focus on stopping Travis Kelce, you got Tyreek Hill going over the top.
Right.
Taking a 2-yard swing pass to the house. So you have to have complementary pieces. And I see the type of work and game plan that Arthur Smith has going here. And, we just once Kyle Pitts really puts it together, whether it's Matt Ryan or whether it's somebody else, I don't know who, I don't care at this point. That RPO game is going to be ridiculous. That little pull it out and then dump it over to the tight end running up the seam. That's going to be nuts. But
wait, there's something there. Yeah.
Right. So I'll tell you this, and I'm gonna make this last point, and we're gonna jump into chat. But I was kind of like what I saw out of Parker Hess or however you say that guy's last name. I see no point if that's how you're going to use your second tight end. There's no point in bringing Hayden Hurst back. Parker actually did. I saw a little bit more out of Parker Hess, which probably contends to one of the reasons why the run game took off in the way it did, is because you have Parker Hess, who is a true H-back.
Right.
Which is that mix between running back and tight end, or fullback and tight end. He was making some real good blocks and opening up some holes. Now, if he can just start being consistent in the catching game, man, it's gonna be fun. All right, well, that's the as I like to say, the opening salvo. So let's jump into chat. I've already been kind of cherry picking it, but I'm gonna do it proper. Jaden Scheffler, Joseph Thornton, Asia Green, and Jolt Gaiman all say what's up. What's going on, folks? Glad y'all are here. Y'all forgive me, I'm still fighting a little bit of that cold. Same with Woon Carter. What's going on, Woon? King 7 and Fred Butts. All y'all, man. I'm glad y'all are here. Your boy Michael Walker's in the chat. Now, see, it's not Michael Walker, or that's traditional Michael Walker there. He might be going under a assumed name there. That might be Michael Walker.
Hey,
if it is, hey man, I'm glad you got to do some playing.
Hey, you can come on the show and talk to us. We'd love to talk.
That's right. Anyway. Charles B., Chris Jameson, and Fred Butts are all in. What's going on? Fred Butt says, why not make Kyle Pitts a permanent receiver? if you do that, you limit his versatility.
Right.
You know, he blocks good enough to where you have to respect him on the line. So you can't just make him. I mean, you can, but you limit some of the things that you can do. Jamal05 said, what's up? What's going on, Jamal? Same thing with Nick Bangaloo. Says, Patterson's our first 100-yard rusher since Gurley in 2020 versus the Panthers at home. Yeah, it's crazy to think that or to realize that. King 7 says, I think Rid isn't coming back. I think it's just something with this team that's behind the scenes. I see Grady leaving soon also, especially with no help. And that's possible. I mean, Grady's under contract for a little bit longer. Like, he's a guy who I would think that you would, possibly extend, but he may not want to be extended. He may not, these guys, like Grady's used to playing in a 4-3 front. Right. Dean Pease likes more of a 3-4 front. So he may feel like it's not a good fit for him. Let's see here. He's under contract next year. So he ain't going anywhere this coming year. But he is a guy who you could extend because he becomes a free agent in 2023.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you something. Grady Jarrett reminds me eerily similar of Freddie Freeman. He's one of those guys that if the Falcons are serious about their defense, don't play games with that guy. Don't let him hit the open market because we'll be in the same situation we are with the Braves with all these people aggressively trying to get Freddie Freeman. But anyway.
I agree completely. If they feel like it's a fit, then they just need to go ahead and lock him up. Right. But Grady has quietly been, Grady as far as I will say this, I did expect some more like sack production out of him this season. But that hasn't necessarily come. He's only gotten, one sack as of right now. I'm trying to see if I can figure out like what, like QB hits or whatever. I saw some crazy thing and saying like we lead or like we're up there in QB hits, but we're just not getting home. So like finishing, so to speak.
Yep. Story about life.
Well, yeah, I'm about to say story of the Falcons' life, right?
Yep.
Let's try to see here if it gives me QB hits or not. Tackles for loss. He's only gotten 2 tackles for loss. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 QB hits so far this season. So, I mean, like I said, he's having a Grady Jarrett type season. But like I said, if he's not happy, then yeah, you got to bounce, Let's see. Dub Dizzle says, I miss the days when Matt Ryan rolled into the Georgia Dome and there was an 85% chance the Falcons would get a home win. The team sucks and there's no home field advantage. No. Look, they may have done fan first pricing in the concessions, but they definitely ain't fan first pricing on the tickets.
No, that's true.
And especially once you get into seat licenses and all that jazz, I'm gonna hate to see it, but I'm pretty sure that stadium's gonna be pretty empty on Sunday. Because you add in a bad product on top of all that, people are not gonna, fork out their hard-earned money for a bad product.
Well, and I'll tell you this, with the Georgia-Alabama game on Saturday, it might be a little people too hungover to want to come back and do it 2 days in a row.
No, right? That's a bigger one right there, really.
Yeah.
King 7 says, CP is a dog. We don't have enough guys with heart. He's 30 years old and came in here and did well. He's got heart. Our players just cool, just getting paid. I don't even see those guys get mad when we lose and shake my head.
You know what? Let me take that for a second.
Please do.
Because it just kind of highlighted something, right? There was this guy that wore the number 11 for this organization. Won't go any further than that. Like, that was like, they're 30 years old, right? And unfortunately, the soft tissue injuries, all of that type of stuff, derailed his career. Now, you look at a Cordarrelle Patterson. I believe he's almost 220 pounds, maybe 6'2", 6'3", big guy, runs very physical. And I think it's really amazing that he's continuing to plateau. Excuse me. Just plateau. Yeah, at 30 years old, when, let's be honest, man, like receivers, once they get to around 27, 28, they start declining, right?
Yep.
So, I think it's really impressive. Like I said, back to the comment about heart, it just shows you the mindset and just the drive of a guy like that. That's a guy that you almost got to protect at all costs, because even if he doesn't duplicate his success next year, he's a respected person in that locker room. We don't have enough guys that walk in that Falcons locker room. They're like, man, that's a dog right there, right? Like, there ain't many people you look at like, okay, I want to be like that guy or model his work. So, I mean, yeah, like I said, I'd love to see him back. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a sentiment out there that that you don't pay for leadership, but he's the type of guy that as long as you got, 6 more games?
Yeah.
As long as he don't just fall off the face of the planet as far as production goes, I honestly don't expect the, touchdown production to keep up. But as long as he's still, a productive part of the offense, I see no reason not to bring him back.
Right.
I was on record before saying the signing of Mike Davis, made me kind of scratch my head. Everybody assured me that, not everybody, that's tough. There was a handful of people who assured me that, Mike Davis could be and would be a productive member, for this team. And right now, it's so funny how these hometown guys can't come in here and produce for the hometown.
Right.
You had Todd Gurley coming back home. Not a bit, you had Dante Fowler with kind of a homecoming with Dan Quinn. Obviously, that didn't last long, but still not necessarily producing, and you have, so yeah, I'm glad there are certain guys who are here who want to be here, but I want guys who are productive.
Absolutely.
Straight up, first and foremost, like,
give me more Anthony Rushes.
Right.
Like,
that's a guy we ain't talked about much. Dude on the streets and come in just making plays.
Give me and that's what I mean. Like those are
re-sign Anthony Rush, let Tyler Davidson walk on.
Yep.
Keep Marlon Davidson just because he's on a rookie contract. But yeah, give me more Anthony Rushes.
Yep.
Let's see. Let's get back in here. Millie Mills says Ridley is the reason why Pitts isn't Rookie of the Year. He opens up everything for him. I mean, when like his best game obviously was against the Jets, but that was the first game that we were out of Ridley, that Ridley wasn't playing. So teams didn't necessarily had time to prepare to stop Pitts. Now everybody knows, so they're ganging up to stop him, and he's got nobody to take the pressure off of it.
Right.
Bird Gang says if Ridley doesn't play for the rest of the year, we can cut ties with Ridley. I mean, yeah, we can cut him. I think we'd still end up owing him money, but that's why I'd rather trade him for, even if it's a, 5th, 6th round, get something out of him if he ain't going to play, kind of deal. Dave says Pitts wasn't going to beat out Chase anyway, even though Jamar Chase, has slowed down. You got to score touchdowns in order to win the award. Yeah, I mean, even Jamar Chase, like, defenses have started to respect him. He's going to have to figure out a way to beat those coverages. Dub Dizzle says, the only O-lineman I'm giving a youth pass is the Mayfield. McGarry is not a pup anymore. Hennessy is straight up outmatched. Yeah, we'll talk about that here in a second. Hennessy is straight up outmatched too often. Gets straight blasted out of the lanes. Now let's touch on that for a minute. It's really interesting that they had they were swapping in and out Hennessy and Dahlman. And when Dahlman was in, like, Dahlman looked pretty good.
Yep.
And they said that was the plan all along. and that is kind of the plan going forward. I mean, I get it. Hennessy may have been like further along in his NFL experience, but it's plainly obvious that he don't have the talent to stand up. He gets walked back into Ryan way too often.
Yep.
You know, he gets overmatched way too often. As far as McGarry is concerned, Josh Gilham says Caleb McGarry had his best game of the season by far, a 79.6 PFF grade, pass blocking grade, and an 88 run blocking grade, trending up. If he keeps that going, I may lay off Hennessy or McGarry, but man, this is where I remind everybody, it was the Jags we were playing. It was the Jags without Josh Allen. It was the Jags without, and I'm gonna go ahead and call it K'Lavon Chaisson that everybody wanted us to take a few years back. He can't even sniff the field for the Jags.
Mm.
So, if there's a team out there that has a worse defensive line than us, it's possibly the Jags. So, saying McGarry shined bright is trying to say, like, you know, that's the
water.
Yeah.
Water. Look, I'm gonna tell you this: like Caleb McGarry, one good game. Not true enough. Like, you know what? Salute. I'm glad you brought that up. He had a good game, but well, I wish I could hit the fast forward button and let's see what we're gonna say about Caleb McGarry next week. Because the game hasn't been played. But if he earns that similar grade next week, excuse me, we're gonna give him a special segment. We're gonna come back to that.
Yeah,
comment
because
next week.
if you're gonna do that again against, like, does he have the ability to do so? Yes. We watched him for an entire game lock out Cameron Jordan. Like
Finally.
Right. I think people went and changed Cameron Jordan's Wikipedia page to say his daddy was Caleb McGarry.
For once.
So, does he have the ability? Sure. Can he put it together consistently? He hasn't shown that yet.
Okay.
So if you can do it against Jason Pierre-Paul, Shaq Barrett, and Ndamukong Suh and all those guys, and you can keep, you know, that grade up, then great. But I highly doubt that's going to happen. I just don't have the confidence in it. Let's see here. We're going to keep on keeping on. Where am I at? Josh Gilman has given us Anthony Rush's grade. He had the highest grade on the defense, 85.7. Like, I don't put a ton of stock behind PFF. Too many times, like, they're showing that people who barely played in a game are like the top performers. Okay, well, they didn't have enough snaps. So, let's see. Millie Mills says we just need another threat or two on offense. For us, pray we get them via the draft or free agency. Yeah, we're gonna have to get them somewhere. Like, at this point, it'll be interesting to see what transpires this offseason. I hope y'all stick with us this offseason because it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be interesting. Dave says, do you guys have a timetable for when you want to see all this nonsense come to an end? What nonsense are you talking about, Dave? Are you talking about just poor play on the team? Like, what time? Because if that's the case, I'm giving them, like, this year's whatever. Next year's really whatever, because people were wanting to run Cliff Kingsbury out of Arizona, Zach Taylor out of Cincinnati, and we're already ready to crown Stefanski the next Belichick. So, you know, 1 year I'm not crowning or setting on fire anybody after a year. Because Cliff Kingsbury's got the Arizona Cardinals rolling. You got Zach Taylor has the Bengals rolling. Stefanski, outside his run game, like, we were ready to crown Baker Mayfield. He's looking like a joke again. Like, they're not looking consistent. Then you got Sean McVay out there in L.A., who's trading draft picks. Everything. And right now, that's not looking too good either. I mean, it's looking like the lights are a little bit too bright for Stafford out there in L.A. So there's no right or wrong way. Well, wrong way, sure. there's no surefire right way to build a team.
Right.
So I'm willing to give Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot time.
Right.
Let's see. Tony Wright says, so far this season, Jones has played in only 5 games. And then, what was that all about?
No idea.
None. Always something. Always something.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, whatever. So yeah, I mean, there's no surefire way to do one way or the other, right? So just keep that going, you know. Chat disc. Okay, we're back. So anyway, all right, we're gonna keep going. Says Millie Mills talking to Dave. Tony Wright says it's weird how former Falcons guard Wes Schweitzer was a starting guard for Washington. Well, he ended up getting hurt in that game. But yes, I mean, sometimes people take time. You just don't always have the time to give them.
Right.
Assassin says, how do you guys think we will perform against the Bucs? Well, let's go ahead and switch to scout team mode.
Oh, boy, yep.
We might as well switch to scout team mode. But, all right. Straight up and down. The Bucs, like, yes, they're doing good. They're finding different ways to win. So there looks like they're going to be possibly without Antonio Brown, but you still got to watch out, obviously, for Mike Evans and Godwin. And
Godwin.
It looks like they're starting to find a run game with Leonard Fournette, which is troublesome, I guess you could say. So yeah, I mean it's a tough matchup, but they are beatable.
Yeah, like I'll tell you this straight up. Like, this is a game where when you look at the lead up, you look at the game. Oh God, I'm probably gonna kick myself for saying this, but actually, if the Falcons play right, this is actually a winnable game. I'll tell you why. And it's not because we have better talent, because we don't have near the talent, near the, cohesion, it's two different locker rooms, right? But this is a team that does not respect us, first and foremost. Like this is a team.
No. Don't tell me I'm losing stuff again.
Uh-oh.
No, we're good. Go ahead. Keep going.
Okay. No, it's like, this is one of those weeks where, like I said, they don't respect us. I think that there's a chance this week that if we play our game, it could be a much closer game. Because let's be honest, the last quarter, after it was 28-25, was probably some of the most embarrassing football we have ever seen from the Atlanta Falcons with, the picks that he threw to Mike Edwards, all of that kind of stuff. It's like, this is a team where it's like Matt Ryan has to want this game. And what we find is when Matt Ryan is locked in, dialed in, and Matt Ryan is leading this team, we got a chance. But Matt Ryan has to take this game personal, because it was one of the worst games that I've seen him play. One of the worst halves I've seen him play than this whole tenure here, right? So, now how we do that, we'll spend time pontificating on that. But I'll say there's a slight chance that we could potentially win this game and keep our playoff hopes up.
Like I said before, like it seems like these last few weeks the defense is taking a step forward, or at least like solidifying. Maybe not necessarily taking a step forward, but you're starting to see a little bit more plays of the rookies, whether it's Grant or Walker or whatever. Give me 2 seconds. I think I've solved a problem, at least. Forgot to hook up my straight wire. See, I'm running off of Wi-Fi, which is not bad until you're an hour into a stream. So we'll see if that stabilizes anything. Normally I hook that up before I get going, so we'll see what that does. Hopefully, looks like we're reconnected. Okay, all right, maybe that'll stabilize everything now. But okay, so the point I was making was that against the Patriots, you held them under 21. Yes, the Dallas game looked horrible, like it got out of hand, even to a point where they were just putting in whoever and whatever, right? But you saw some, more stabilizing play the last couple of weeks. Now, if that can keep going, then, this could be a confidence-building game. Right now at this junction, yes, we're still technically in the playoff hunt. I'm not even worried about playoffs whatsoever. Like, for a lot of you folks out here, this analogy is going to make sense. A lot of y'all feel like the reason why we don't put non-Power 5 college teams in the playoff is just because they're going to get drummed as soon as they play. Look, if we for somehow stumble into the playoffs, that's what's going to happen, right? Like, we just don't have the talent to compete. I hate to put it that way. I hate to, like, if this year has taught me anything, once again, is that this next offseason, you're not going to get an overly optimistic JR. Like, you'll get an optimistic one, but definitely not an overly optimistic one.
Right.
Because the talent just isn't there. So if we do stumble our way into the playoffs, a game like this, you gotta win a game like this.
Yeah.
Right now, all 5 wins that you have come against mediocre teams.
Yep.
And that's why the thumbnail is like, the best of the worst.
Yeah.
Because right now that's all we're showing that we're going to be.
Absolutely.
Is the best of the worst, right? So to change that mindset, to change that mantra, you have to start winning games like this.
Right.
Okay? Right now for the rest of the season, I'm going to pull up the rest of the schedule, right? Because let's see here. Seymour, bam. Okay. So you got the Bucs, then the Panthers, the 49ers, the Lions, the Bills, and the Saints. I say for the most part you get a win against the Lions. Okay? So that's 6 wins. Possibly against the Saints if they are still having offensive issues. Okay? 7 wins. Maybe against the I'm back Carolina Panthers who got benched for PJ Walker. Maybe you get a win there. That's 8 wins. So if you want to get into the playoffs, you have got to get a win against the Bucs, the 49ers, or the Bills. Like, you got to. And that's saying that the other 3 of these last 6 are guarantees. Right? And it starts this weekend against the Bucs.
Yeah.
Straight up and down.
Yeah, and I think, like, we've seen the Falcons play their worst football. We have not yet seen them play their best football. I think we saw glimpses last week in the running game that there's actually somebody on this team capable of running for over 100 yards in a game. We've seen it, right? Now, the fundamentals, the foundational pieces are there, but I think when it comes to just what we want to see, that's just a building block. Like, this is another week where, hey, it's not as much about the score to me as it is who's going to rise to the occasion, right? Because, again, we're looking for, these are guys, it's almost like we're recruiting. It's like, who wants to be an Atlanta Falcon, right? Like, who wants to be an Atlanta Falcon and how bad do you want to be here, right? This is a week where, again, like, I just call it out. I thought Michael Walker played it really well while Deion Jones was out. But I think this is a week where, hey, like, please play Michael Walker more. Like, we've been begging for it. I thought he had a really good game last week, right? Give these guys that have talent, they need to be on the field. They got to be. Right? As talent has to be on the field if you are serious about beating Tom Brady. But again, what's crazy about these Bucs is we don't actually know what type of Bucs team is going to show up. It could be I've got to give you another analogy. It could be the Bucs team that takes on the spirit of the Dallas Cowboys. That could be the team that get off the charter bus and takes it to us on Sunday. But we could also get the team that, the team that played against the Saints that just looked like, what are you doing? Yep. And throwing picks and nothing's going right. And veterans and all of these highly paid individuals are yelling and arguing with each other. Or like they got down last week to the Colts. Now, this is a team that when they get down, they've got the talent to come back. But obviously, there are gaps and they can be exposed. But, it's just like it's just things of how good can we expose this guy.
Right. And that's the thing is our margin of error is much smaller than theirs, obviously.
Right.
Like if you look at their last few games, we'll go back to the Saints game into October, right? They lost to the Saints 36-27. Then they turned around and lost to the Redskins, Washington football team, 29-19. They beat the Giants, and then you got the Colts that they were one decent throw from Carson Wentz away from having you're in a fight with the Colts, right?
Absolutely.
All the way around. Like you go look at that game, you look at the stats, they gave up 107 yards and 285 passing yards. So 107 rushing yards. They gave up 5.9 yards a play. So are they beatable? Every team's beatable. If this season has shown you anything, it's that everybody, like, it is truly any given Sunday this week or this year. Right. There is no like overly dominant team. You have, you got a 3-win Seahawks team this year, which is crazy. So what I'm, the only team that looks like consistent, I guess, right now is Green Bay, and then, maybe not even the Bills or the Bills, the Ravens, or the Chiefs don't even look all that consistent this year. Right. So I'm saying all that to say, look, couldn't we win this game on Sunday? Sure. But we're going to have somebody else has got to step up.
Absolutely. And it's got to be somebody that the Bucs have a game plan for, right? Because let's be real, the Bucs know what they know what Deion Jones is going to do.
Yeah.
They know Foy Oluokun is going to do. They know how the Falcons are going to try to use Kyle Pitts. And they know that, like, our running game, honestly, they know that our running game and the problem with the Tampa Bay Bucs is with them not respecting our running game, they know that, you got, the Vita Veas, the Ndamukong Suhs, the Jason Pierre-Pauls, like, it's almost like it's who's who, in the league or whatever. But it's just one of those things where my challenge to the Falcons is, can we play a game similar to the game we played against the Las Vegas Raiders last year when they came in real hype on a winning streak, killing everybody, another chop in the bucket, and Jacob Tuiota Mariner steps up, like which was last year. He's not with the team anymore, but it's like just a guy like, can a James Water get a sack early? They're not planning for James Waters. Can Okundeji finally get there? Because he's hitting the quarterback, because we see it, right? That.
Yeah, no, that's a a true statement. It's like somebody has to step up. It doesn't necessarily have to be on the offensive side of the ball. Can somebody make a game-changing interception? Can we get a pick six, like, in a crucial point?
So the title of the scouting report is somebody, anybody. Anybody, please.
Somebody. Will the real Falcon players please step up?
Please, pretty please.
And so let's jump back into chat here for a minute. Millie Mills thinks the 49ers are the easiest out of the big three left. Yeah, sure, but Shanahan has a propensity just to throw out a weird game every now and again. Tony Wright says Wayne Gallman and Cordarrelle should get 10 carries each, in my opinion. Like, I'll tell you this. You can say what you want to. I'm going to pick up this a point I wanted to make. Let's see here. Get back to this. Again, it was Jacksonville. I get it. I'm not trying to sit here and say that it was, a dominating win. But you had Matt Ryan's attempts were under 30, which is, I would think, where Arthur Smith would like him to be. Because you were finally able to get the run game going with Cordarrelle Patterson at, 16 carries at 6.8 yards a carry.
Yeah.
Wayne Gallman in his 4 carries was averaging 4.8 yards a carry. But see, here's the difference right here to me. Wayne Gallman's averaging 4.8 yards, and Mike Davis, with one more carry, is averaging 3.2 yards.
Wow.
So Mike Davis needs to continue to get phased out. You know, I'll say it like that. If you want to say, be strong, appreciate it, man. He just tipped us $2. He said, give each Falcon player a 5-hour energy before the game. You could have followed up with a Red Bull. Give him some wings, too. Something.
Oh, man, right, exactly. Lemon pepper wings.
Something,
please.
dude, something. But see,
right.
This is where it hasn't necessarily produced as much, but, you know, Mike Davis with, 3 catches for 25 yards. Some of those were big, man. Some of those were drive extending catches. But I need those guys to, I need somebody to develop a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Brandon Levy says he tips us $5, which we appreciate greatly. He says, pound for pound, extrapolate a little bit on Richie Grant. I am, for one, am glad to see Richie Grant getting some more playing time. I think Richie Grant is your strong safety of the future.
Yep.
And
yep.
Like a Dean Pease offense, I'm trying to see if I can get up snap counts, because that was something I wanted to bring up. Seeing snap counts, Falcons. And in a Dean Pease offense, safeties are interchangeable. That's something we talked about a lot in the offseason. And I think the pairing of Richie Grant and Jalen Hawkins is going to be a nice pairing going forward. So let's see here.
Yep.
Richie Grant had 32 snaps out of a possible 73. So I need Deron Harmon and Eric Harris, because Eric Harris had Robinson, the running back, dead to rights in the backfield, and just couldn't bring him down.
Yeah. He's I'm gonna tell you something. Eric Harris is following our long line of safeties that is there to make the play, but just doesn't go our way. And I don't know if it's talent, ability, or just bad luck, but I see him trying to blow guys up, and that's not necessarily what he's known for. Now he got Robbie Anderson the other week, but it's like ever since he hit Robbie Anderson, he's been trying to hit stick people every week.
Oh yeah,
and it's led to a lot of bad angles, bad plays, extra extended drives, all that kind of stuff. But real quick, back to Richie Grant real quick.
Yeah,
I saw him flash. I saw him pursue and tackle a guy, get a good jump on a guy, make a nice tackle in the backfield. I think him with more confidence, again, that's a guy that you can build around. And you know what? It goes back to the draft, right? Like that, we actually, in retrospect, we're getting a lot out of the draft. Now, Frank Darby probably is not what most people would have expected, as far as being able to come in and have some type of productivity. But you're right, a Richie Grant starting to bear a little bit of fruit. I mean, Mayfield, whether we like him or not, I think the more snaps I don't know what Mayfield's NFL future is, but I do think he'll be a better player in year 2 than he was this year, as he gets a chance to work a whole offseason at guard. Because the ability, he's got the measurables to be decent, right? Like, and against lower levels of competition, he looks functional, right? So, but looking at the draft, I mean, I think we hit on a lot of places in this draft, and I mean, we kind of had Okundeji. Like I said, we've had a good enough draft that like I said, some of these guys are gonna bear fruit, but you got to give Richie Grant more playing time.
No, yeah, you definitely got to give Richie Grant definitely more playing time. I will say this: Jalen Mayfield is up to 29 blown blocks in the pass game.
Okay.
So far, that's up from 21 when I looked at it. I think 2 weeks ago.
Okay. Ooh.
So,
okay, never mind. Cut.
Well, I mean, look, I'm not ready to Jalen Mayfield, whatever, right? They didn't do him any favors by doing the whole right guard or right tackle, left guard thing.
Right.
So I will say, for the most part, they ain't pulling him, so I guess they see something in him. Because Josh Andrews is back off of the COVID list, so he could definitely put he could definitely, they could be putting him in. And so we'll see how they feel going forward. But I will say this, it seems like they finally seen enough of Hennessy, because they're trying to mix Dahlman back in. Let's see. But yeah, I'm encouraged by what I've seen of Richie Grant. I think the mixture of him and Hawkins, this going forward, is going to definitely pay dividends. And like David Breland says, him and Hawkins, that's why we've been playing big nickel. That's exactly why we've been playing big nickel. And so I think with more playing time, Grant will get more confidence.
Absolutely.
Code says, I wish we could see the wide receiver route running abilities, because there should be no excuse for Matt Ryan to be holding the ball for more than 5 seconds and somebody getting open. I will say this. I heard 3 or 4 times the, commentators just saying, well, man, nobody's getting open. And when they're making that comment, you have to kind of take notice of that, And I'll say this, if y'all don't pay for Game Pass, you might want to definitely try a free trial before you just sign up, because it is definitely not as good as it used to be. Like I was trying to watch, because of what he just said, that route running. After I heard that 3rd or 4th comment, I was like, man, let me just go check the all 22 film, and they don't even have all the plays.
Wow.
Which is really frustrating. Pay my money and they ain't there. But anyway, let's see. Jarvis Williams says, what's up, folks? What's going on, Jarvis? Nick Banglow says, move Pitts to wide receiver, put him in motion. You limit, I said it earlier and I'll say it again, you limit his versatility.
Absolutely.
I get it.
Anyway.
Like, you're going to play him all over the field, and they're going to get back to doing that eventually.
Right.
I just don't know when, right?
Right.
David says Dahlman will be the starter by the end of the year. If he keeps showing
I agree.
Hennessy up, he definitely will be.
Absolutely.
He definitely will be. I'm trying to see if I missed any other ones.
Yeah.
Oh, Millie Mills says, no, Mike, Eric Harris just sucks, bro.
Hey, listen, you get no argument from me for now. I just think that after you made that hit on Robbie Anderson, they was like, oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Whoever is running marketing for the Atlanta Falcons social media pages, in losses, we don't really care about the boom. Oh, Eric Harris laid the boom in a loss. I'm sorry.
Yeah, right.
In loss, we don't really care about the individual accolades of the person. Oh, this play was great, but the rest of the game wasn't. Anyway, mini rant over. Go ahead, Jared.
Jarvis Williams says, Jared, when you coming back to Warner Robins? Robbins is hiring for 200. What do you mean Robbins is hiring for 200,000? I might come back down to Warner Robins for 200,000.
Hey, bro. Right.
We was just talking about that before we went live.
Boy, leave a link in the comments.
I'm not saying drop a link, yo. DM me on Twitter. Ooh, Lord have mercy, 200,000.
We need to go to Warner Robins.
What kind of internet they got down there in Warner Robins?
Hey, they got good Wi-Fi?
They got good. Can't be going out in the boonies now. I got to have some. Like, if you could see my setup here, you'd understand. Anyway, King 7 says, quick draft first round pick. Who do you think we should get will make a difference for us? Right now, anybody. I mean, we got so many daggum holes. Look, we picking in the middle of, right now we picking in the middle of the draft, right? Or the top of the middle, I guess you could call it. Give me like the best O lineman you got. Give me the best D lineman you got. Give me, Sauce Gardner and pair him with AJ Terrell.
Give me. I'm sorry. You know what? Y'all want a mini draft house today just because for the heck of it. And listen, this is not. There's no research. There's no insight. Just gut feeling. Give me Jordan Davis today, and put him right in the middle of that defense, and it'll make Grady Jarrett's contract extension flow a little bit smoother.
My only concern about Jordan Davis is, and I confirmed it today because we were talking about him at work. My only concern with Jordan Davis is this joker's already 26 years old.
It's not okay. Hold on, wait, nope, time out. Wait a minute. Let's talk about it right now.
What?
I checked his Twitter, because I'm a big UGA fan. I've been following this guy, and he actually got so much flack behind it that He's actually 20 years old. He was like, why are you guys saying I'm 20? Because somebody started his rumor that he was 26 years old.
Somebody changed his Wikipedia page.
Yeah, but that's Wikipedia, first of all.
True.
But he was born in the year, I think 2000, right? He's a 2000 baby. Now, I don't know, for some of the people on this, that might make you feel older, might make you feel younger, might be right at home, whatever. But Jordan Davis is 20 years old.
Listen, I'm trying to confirm this now. You got me curious.
I'm not going to let you guys do that to my boy Jordan Davis.
Look, if he's 20, I'm taking him all day long.
He's 20 years old. The boy is not 26 years old. You know what? That's funny to me. Like,
well,
first of all,
look now. This page right here is saying he was born in 95 and is 26 years old. Hold on. You don't just go with one source. You got to check other sources, right?
Go to the UGA webpage. Go to the UGA
I'm
football.
trying to see, look, all these other pages are just doing nothing but giving me height and weight and where he's from. That's fine and dandy. I want to know how old the man is.
Oh, Lord.
Let's see. Hold on. Hey, look, we're gonna figure this out. We're doing some investigative journalism here.
And I need to know because geez.
Like, look, they don't even Georgia don't say. Even the UGA don't say when this man's born.
Oh, okay. So, all right.
And I keep saying man because if he's 26 years old.
Look, because you said it so calmly. It's like the boy is 26 years old, but it's like, you know what I'm saying? The man is still with the college. He's a 4-year. Like they got him in the. It's like he would think about that though. He would have had to be 22 years old when Kirby Smart went to his school and said, "Hey, you want to come play for Georgia? You 22-year-old 12th grader? Like what? Golly, we need to see what's going on in Charlotte.
He could have been red-shirted a few years.
No. Anyway, back to my point.
Okay.
I take Jordan Davis. I solidify the middle. I give Grady Jarrett a partner. We shut down some run games, and we take some of the pressure off of the secondary. Because pass rush, he's not going to get you a lot in the pass rush department. But, again, I think right now he's a complimentary piece. But, again, we're not going to go too deep on that. We'll have our draft houses. We'll have all of the pontifications. But today, just based on the way the team is currently playing, give me another Anthony Rush, a younger Anthony Rush. You know what I mean? And give me him, Anthony Rush, and Grady Jarrett on the defensive line, and let's play football.
Oh,
anyway.
All right, so according to Fox Sports, Jordan Davis' present age is 26 years old. Look, don't get mad at me. I'm just saying, look, all I'm trying to say is at 26 years old, if you draft him in the first round, you don't have to worry about giving him a second contract.
Okay.
That's all I'm trying to say.
We're going to come back next week. I'm going to come back with my sources.
All right, yeah, please do, because everything I'm seeing, because, like, don't get me wrong, obviously Jordan Davis has become like a fan favorite, right, just because he's such a huge dude. I don't even care that much about college while it's being played, and he's caught my attention because I was like, man, this guy is massive, you know. But, yeah, everybody's like, Josh Gilman says, it's impossible for him to be 26. Okay, fine. All right, look, I'm not saying that it's not impossible. Josh Gilman says that's 8 years in college. Well, what if he was a late bloomer? He could have been held back a few years, Josh. You think about that? If he didn't graduate high school until he was 20, then, didn't go to college right away, right? Like maybe he didn't go to college until he was 22. I mean, I'm just saying. Could be.
Oh, boy. Pound for pound, y'all are on point in that. Yeah, we this is a straight treat right now.
But look, Code, he brings up a good point. He says, we already know the Atlanta Falcons don't pick players from Georgia anyway. So this is all a moot point, right?
Yeah.
King 7 says, yeah, whatever it is, it has to be O-line and D-line. Yeah. Like, we've got to build these trenches, folks.
Yep.
Like, at this point, give me whatever, like, halfway decent receiver that's on the free agent list. Somebody asked me about free agents. Tell you the God's honest truth, I haven't even looked at who's a free agent yet. So let's see, 2022 NFL free agent. We're gonna spitball here for a few more minutes before we start wrapping this thing up. All right, come on. I hit the wrong one. Let's go with this one. Okay. So Allen Robinson from Chicago, if you want a wide receiver. Let's just look at wide receivers because that would be a better. Devontae Adams, you can't afford him.
Nope.
Will Fuller, you might afford him, maybe. You couldn't really entice me to get Jamison Crowder. T.Y. Hilton, I don't need another small receiver.
Nope.
Juju Smith-Schuster, could I interest you in a Juju Smith? No, me either.
Nope.
A.J. Green, no thank you. Emmanuel Sanders, no thank you. Kellen Cole doesn't move the needle. Neither does Sammy Watkins. Now, Mike Williams, he's a good jump ball, contested catch kind of guy.
Well, but, okay, so you know what's crazy is Sammy Watkins, maybe, because I think Matt Ryan, see, here's the thing. If you are good as a receiver, Matt Ryan is going to try his best to get you the ball, right?
Oh, yeah.
Sammy Watkins, maybe. But anyway, just a maybe.
Listen, I'm trying to see who else. Wide receiver, DJ Chark, Michael Gallup. Now you might talk me into Michael Gallup.
Yeah. Chark is washed.
Yeah, Chark. Yeah, I'm not big on Chark. I don't want to see y'all's top free agents. I want to see a full list, dagnabbit. Here we go. Yeah. Chris Goodwin from Tampa Bay. I don't think you can afford him.
You know what? And going from the Bucs to the Falcons for a guy like that. Now, true enough, he's a number one receiver.
Oh yeah.
But the problem is, people are going to drink from the Bucs fire hose. They're going to keep winning. Oh
yeah. There's no reason for them not to really.
I don't really.
The guys from Denver have already been locked up. Tim Patrick and Cortland Sutton.
Right.
Yeah, no. I mean, your wide receivers aren't going to be that big. You might catch a decent edge guy maybe.
Right.
Who is okay? Millie Mills. That's the second time you brought this guy up. Says, nah, JR, we just need Treylon Burks. Okay, he's wide receiver out of Arkansas.
Hey, boy, now listen now.
Is that a dude?
Problem is, boy, that boy is he's a problem, but he's a little bit, he's like an end of the first round guy. Because 6'4", Arkansas, I can tell you straight up about this guy. Like anybody that's an SEC homer, you know about this guy because you think about it. Arkansas, that was absolutely horrible for the better half of, this decade, right? But he's a guy that's been what I like about a guy like that? He knows what it's like to work through losing coaches. I would actually sell Treylon Burks right now for the simple standpoint that he is a football player. You know what I like? I like players that perform on teams that are bad and they just come out and be a dog.
Right? Yep.
You're the subject of every team scouting report every week. You got double coverage, you're bracketed, and you just make plays. And let me tell you something, he's a big guy. He fits perfectly for an Arthur Smith. Now, that's a guy we probably do need to watch. Whoever made that comment, we'll put him on the watch list. We'll talk more on him. But again, 6'4", probably 6'4", 220 pounds.
That sounds like a Arthur Smith guy right there.
Yeah, listen, and the thing about it is Alabama had no answer for this guy. He absolutely blitzed Alabama probably 2-3 years in a row. And, as a Georgia guy, I watched him play against Georgia. Now, we shut him down last couple of years, but he did play well when we played against Arkansas this past year. So he is a guy, I'm telling you, that I think has the highest ceiling of any receiver coming out of college football. And there's some good ones in this draft, too. So, you know what? If we were to jump ship and there is a problem with Ridley, I would have no problem with Treylon Burks. And we roll with that. With him and Kyle Pitts, that would be absolutely nasty.
No doubt. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to give him – I'm going to start, as soon as college football ends, I'm on. That tends to be when I start checking into that stuff anyway.
Yeah.
Fred says, "What about Mike? What about George Pickens out of UGA?
Well,
you think he's coming out this year? Is he a senior? Absolutely. I don't know.
he's got the talent to come out this year, but I'll be honest with you, and I just had a conversation with a buddy of mine a couple days ago about this. He gives me first of all, he's coming off a torn ACL, which he rehabbed like hell to get back and be able to play this week. Because again, if he didn't get hurt, he carried Georgia for the better half of the last 2 years. But a guy like that kind of reminds me of Dez Bryant a little bit, and that's not necessarily in the best way, right? Mm-hmm. Meaning that once you put him against NFL cornerbacks, he will make plays, he will be dominant, but the way that he plays the game isn't necessarily conducive to the way Arthur Smith runs his offense. And what I mean by that is, George Pickens is a willing blocker, but I don't think that George Pickens would be able to create the type of separation that you would need in this offense, or that you're used to him seeing with just the scheme and what is required for you to do. Now, got the size. I wouldn't take a flyer on a guy like that off an ACL. I really wouldn't take a flyer on any receiver coming off an ACL surgery.
Right.
Because even Kyle Pitts was a unicorn last year, but in this league, he's going to struggle. So, maybe if we get him late, possibly, but not any. We need guys that can come in and play and be ready to roll. Honestly.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Ghost Pepper says Jordan Davis entering the NFL draft as a 5-year veteran. But it's all good because we're still missing that extra nose tackle who can sit on a dollar, and when he gets up, there's 4 quarters.
Y'all are on fire.
Making me mad. Oh my God, man! I think we did it, Mike. We rolled up a little over an hour or so. Y'all guys in chat, y'all have been amazing. As far as the Bucs games go, I honestly don't expect to win, but we're gonna have to, But it's not out of the realm of possibility. If the defense, if we can play the type of game we want, which is a clock-eating type game, and keep Tom Brady on the sidelines, then, there's a chance or whatever.
Right.
King 7 says, I'm still trying to figure out how we the brokest team in the league and lack so many stars because we're paying guys who aren't on the team anymore. One's up in Tennessee. The other one, we're still paying Trufant. We're still paying Alford. So, right now we're paying for TD's bad decisions. And, $40-something million to Matt Ryan don't help either. So they're going to have to figure that out. You cannot roll into next year with Matt Ryan making $42 million. So You're going to have to extend him front-loaded, add, void years and dummy years and stuff like that. They're going to have to get creative. So,
absolutely. And the reality is some people showed up with the Falcons to make money and some people showed up to steal money.
That's it.
Got a little healthy dose of both right
That's
there.
right. And that's how you end up where you are. So, yeah, Terry Fontenot's going to have to keep doing some voodoo, you know what I'm saying? So, but as we say at this time of the show, man, I'm out. Y'all can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Grim1128. That's GRIMM1128. Mike?
Man, follow your boy Mike Dub, MIKE_DUB. Y'all are the best, greatest, most amazing fan base in the world because you know what? We watch a team that we don't know what to expect week to week. But you know what? We come, we look, y'all listen to us pontificate about it, and we can't ask for more.
That's
you know
it.
what I mean?
That's it. Fred Butt says, and we're going to lose this on a closing note. He said, if Julio gets cut, would y'all bring him back? No. You quit on my team, dog. Sorry. Don't.
Who?
Yeah. Who? All right, man. As always, Falcons fans, man, let's just win, yo.
Peace.
That's it. Peace.